back, friends, horror fans, and hero shooter fans, to another Would You Survive? This one is going to be on Ramattra, my favorite Overwatch tank. So, for those who aren't familiar with the series, how does it work? We're going to basically analyze. This is a somewhat opinionated, because I have to make my own judgment, but it's basically we're going to look at the abilities of a character and then go in 3 tiers, 25s. So the tiers are not prepared, semi prepared, fully prepared. So fully prepared is where you will be at the peak you can possibly be at. So in this case, it would be like an Overwatch agent. Semi prepared is you don't really have hero shooter abilities, but you're your average soldier. And not prepared is you are just a dude with a handgun. And then the tiers will go in survivability. So 25, 50, 75, 100. Would you survive them? So what are Ramatra's abilities? As you'll see up here, there will be gameplay. Very bad gameplay because I suck at tank, suck at Ramatra, I'm a support main, but you will see gameplay of his abilities. So what are his abilities? One of Ramatra's abilities I'd like to cover first is obviously his staff. He can shoot you with his little staff thingy. It's very basic. That's just his regular attack. He can also pull up a shield, so you're shooting at him. He can, negate that. He also has his vortex, which will over time damage you, but it doesn't do a whole lot. It'll just slow you down, which, if you're at the height of your performance, will negate your survivability. And finally, the Nemesis mode, which causes him to punch the air so hard it creates a sort of sonic boom type thing. Not like actually sonic boom, but it turns the air in front of it into a sort of projectile. He can also take 2 to 3 times more damage than he could have before, basically tripling up his health, and he can also block during that time, which really mitigates damage. And then finally, he can go into his ult, which is the same thing as Nemesis mode, or as I call it, Mike Tyson mode, for even more damage, right? So let's get into it. Tier 1, not prepared. Ramatra just pulled up in front of your house for a 1v1 with a take everything from them. And you have a handgun, you punch in your cat's birthday, and you pull it out, and you try to hit him in the face, and he immediately just Mike Tysons you out of the stratosphere. Survivability, 25%. You are not surviving Ramatra in Tier 1. Tier 2, semi-prepared. You are the average Joe. Not average Joe. You have military training, but you're not quite on the level of Overwatch or Blackwatch. So, Tier 2, Ramatra pulls up to a battlefield or a facility or somewhere where you're working as a military guy. You're a little bit more prepared. You knew that he was going to be coming, right? So you're fully prepared. You've got, we'll say, regular gun, grenades, stuff like that. I would say you start by trying to shoot at him. He throws up his barrier, and eventually you will run out of ammo. Assuming he doesn't try to get up close with his Nemesis mode, which he likely would. But for this sake, we'll just dumb him down for plot relevance, because you both aren't at your peak. So you guys are exchanging fire. You eventually run out. You're starting to throw grenades at him. And then he pops Mike Tyson mode, and he just absolutely negates it, and then obliterates you, sending you into the stratosphere with a one punch. And then finally, I forgot to mention, your survivability is, I gotta say, still 25. You are not surviving Ramatra as the regular person. And then finally, you are an Overwatch agent. You two are on similar playing field. You are just in a random battlefield. You have some sort of power. Let's just say, for the sake of the funny, that you have Tracer's power. Let's just say you're on Tracer's level. You get some good blinks and you're doing good damage. His shield's not doing much. He slows you down a little bit, and you're really low health. You do a recall, and then he pops Mike Tyson mode in his ult, and he punches you into the stratosphere. Survivability, 50%. There is no way, unless you yourself are a tank, which is just, I feel like maybe it's too powerful, but just for the sake of debate, let's say you are a tank. then it is still only a 50-50. It depends on who can outshoot who, but I feel like Ramattra, in the end, his damage mitigation is just too good for you to survive. Realistically, if you're not in a 5v5 or 6v6 and you are on a 1v1, no one is surviving Ramatra. If his shield doesn't do it and his vortex doesn't either, his nemesis mode or ult will. So that's all I got for this one. If you liked it and want to stay up to date with daily horror content or Would You Survive or whatever else, though I do primarily horror content, consider hitting the notification bell, subscribe. If you disliked it, share it from our group chats, you make fun of me in my stupid video. See you, Space Cowboy.